Hi guys, so towards the end of last week I opened my first real money trading account with $150 and I took a couple of trades on that, and this week's been my first full week of trading with real money. So I have topped up my account from 150 to 300 just to allow me a little bit more flexibility with the trades that I want to take, because it was a little bit restricting with 150. So it's 300 while I learn the ropes. So this week has been a week of burnout and frustration. There's been so much going on with the market, lots of new themes, loads to look at, that I just felt really scattered and so much information that I didn't know what to do with any of it. Rather than just focusing on one little thing, I was looking at a million different things at the same time. So it had left me wondering if I can actually do this, not just from a skill level, but also from a physical and mental point of view, just because I'm working a part-time job. When I'm not working, I'm trading pre-market, I'm trading in normal trading hours, I'm doing my pre-market prep, tuning into webinars. I was doing after hours, looking at the market because there was so much going on last week. I'm doing my watch list, I'm prepping for the next day. So just a lot, but also I don't want to not learn, especially as a beginner, because everything's changing from day to day. But last week I definitely neglected sleep, healthy eating and exercise. As for trading, I took some wins, I took some losses, I took some good trades, I took some stupid trades, and I won't go through all of them. I'll just go through the biggest percentage gainer and biggest percentage loss of the week. And I'm happy to say I did end the week green, but that could definitely change by the end of the month. But yeah, let's get into the chart. So the ticker was VRPX, and this was my really stupid trade. Let's start with that one first. So the reason why I looked at this stock was because of another ticker, AREB, which let's just expand the daily chart here. So it was a stock that had come from around like the 130 range, and it had this recent reverse split. So it had now become a low float company, and often when stocks have had the reverse split, they can really pump up the price because it's a low float stock. It can move quite significantly, and the companies have good reason to want to get their stock over $1, well over $1, to apply with NASDAQ regulations. So this stock had a pump day here, so it moved on high volume 2 days after its reverse split, and it went from around that 130 range all the way up to £8.40. So that is a really big move on the market, and when you get a big move like that, which is quite significant, you're going to get other stocks doing similar things, was my thinking anyway. As soon as I saw that, I said it's a reverse split pump, there's going to be other reverse split pumps moving in sympathy with this. Just because this one moved, other things are going to start doing the same thing. So I was scanning for or looking for recent companies that had done a recent reverse split that were in the same price range, and I had like about 3 that I came up with, and this was one of them, VRPX. If we go over here to the daily chart, you can see it had this reverse split, and I was playing it on, need to check the day now, 2nd of April, is that right? Yeah, 2nd of April. Yeah, so it had done a reverse split here, so day 1, and it was coming up to day 10, and if companies are going to pump their stock after a reverse split, it's usually within the first 10 days. I won't go into loads of detail on that, but that's the time period. So I had AREB had gone off on this day here, which was the Wednesday, I believe. Let me double check that. Yeah, Wednesday, the 2nd of April. And I found this stock that had a recent reverse split. Its day 10 was the Thursday, the 3rd of April. So I was thinking they could very easily pump this today or tomorrow. So I had put, as soon as I sort of identified these, Roland Wolf, I'm in the Roland Wolf community, had put in the chat, guys, there's going to be sympathy plays on reverse splits. So that was kind of cool because I was already on that line of thought anyway. And so I just asked him, does it need to be within the same sector? And he said not necessarily. It could be price range, it could be float, it could be a number of things. So I'd put in the chat, I was looking at VRPX because it's coming up to day 10 after its reverse split, and it's come from the same price range. Where were we? Here. So it'd come from like 120, so very similar to AREB, where that came from 130. And jumped onto a webinar, and as soon as sort of like 5 minutes into the webinar, VRPX just popped off from like 130s up to like 180, like while we were on the call, and Roland was like, oh look, VRPX is going now. And I was just like, just thinking to myself, like, I just like called that. I've just said, I think that's going to go. I didn't expect it to go right there and then. I was thinking maybe tomorrow, maybe later tonight. And so I was just like, I just had like massive FOMO basically, that I called something and then it had like spiked, which, is totally wrong, especially when I don't really know what I'm doing with this anyway. But you just can't help it. So yeah, I saw that spiking up. I was like, thinking, my thesis was kind of correct there. And I just saw it go, it was too late, it had gone. And just saw it like coming back down. And I just had complete FOMO, complete trading with emotion, had no risk in mind, nothing. I just thought, I just want to get in because it's going to go back up. And I got in around 134. And as we can see, this is the 1 minute chart here, it just didn't do anything. And what did I do with that? I put $100 on it, lost like $7, so I lost like 11% on it, which is really poor trade because it's more than I was willing to lose on it, and I had no risk. I just literally wanted to get in. And the next day it actually got delisted. I mean, I cut here somewhere. Where did I sell? Like 120, somewhere down here. And then the next day it got delisted because it didn't meet the NASDAQ regulations, so weren't able to pump the stock up enough. But yeah, I'm kind of a bit like embarrassed about this trade because I identified something but didn't know what the hell I was doing with it. I shouldn't have been trading it. It was just wanted to get in and not thinking about risk or even how do sympathy plays actually work. They're very new to me, so I shouldn't have been trading it at all. Good lesson. The next one was WCT. So this was my biggest percentage gain with real money. Let's just quickly go to the daily chart. Good. This was the day I played it, so nice end to the week being a Friday, the 4th of April. So the reason why, the day before, it moved on about 19 mil volume, which in comparison to what it's previously done, or what it normally does, it was a fairly high volume day for it. And it had gone from like, 14, 15 cents up to 20 cents. So really not a big move, 5 cent move, not massive. I wouldn't have got my attention on that day at all. But the day I played it was here. It came up on my scan because it was one of the biggest percent gainers pre-market. So this is the after hours 1 minute, this is the pre-market chart 1 minute, and could see, I always scan the top gainers, see what's going on. This one had spiked after hours and it had gone from, that 20 cent range up to 35 cent. So that is looking a bit more interesting. And then pre-market, it had gone up to 40 cents. So that is, 100% move there. So there wasn't really anything for me to do with it at this point. It wasn't even of interest. But later on in the day, when I saw it pulling back, I had a bit more of a closer look at it, and I thought, where it's had its day one here, it has closed at 20 cents. That's quite a significant level, being sort of 20 cent, 10 cent, they're all kind of key areas. So I could see after hours where it had this breakout here, big breakout, that was from the 20 cent range. It was also moving on really high volume. It had done about 44 million in volume, and compared to its history of volume, that was lining up to be like a really big volume day. So if it's already done that pre-market, I was thinking this is going to go, to potentially 100 million when the market opens over the course of the day. So so it came back down to that 20 cent range, which was also yesterday's high of day as well. So it's broken out from 20 cent. It's topped out at 20 cent yesterday. It's moving on high volume, and it's coming back down to that 20 cent range. And the other reason why I thought this was a good entry was because there was big range for it to go back up to, for where it had been and where it had held after hours and pre-market. There was big scope for this to, go back somewhere up in that area. So I decided to get in pre-market, got in at, let's double check that, about 21 cents, just over 21 cents. I only put like $43 on it, a really tiny amount. And then, my idea was to kind of risk around that 20 cent range, just because that's where it had this breakout, and being like 20 cent range is a key area. So market opened, obviously it was gapping up from yesterday, had a nice pullback, respected the risk level nicely, had this lovely push off, and I sold like half of my position pretty early, but it was at a 10% gain, so I was thinking I'm going to take that as 10%, really quick move. So I sold some at a 10% gain. It must have been around sort of 24 cents, can't remember exactly. Just sold pieces along the way, and managed to get a sell at around 30 cents, sort of around there was my best sell. And my profit targets were 26-ish was my first one, so my first sell was definitely a lot earlier than it should have been, but I thought 10%, can't sniff at that. And then I had 28 cents, 32 around this area here, and then here I wasn't really going to let it get to this level, but that should have definitely been a profit target. Just sold pieces off along the way. I left a small bit on just because I thought, this has still got range to move into. But as the day went on, you can see this level here of support, and then it had broken out of there, it come back down, touched it, and I moved my risk up. I'm not sure whether that was the right thing to do or not, but I moved my risk up from down here to up here because I didn't want to lose on the last bit of my the last portion of my shares, and I thought this is looking like a new area of risk. And to be honest, it was a new area of risk. It actually, although it broke it only briefly broke it, and then it pushed off. But I got stopped out. I think I put a stop loss on there, or I can't remember. Took a small gain on the last bit of shares that I had, and then as we can see, it grinded up and had this big push back to the 100% move, 43 cents there. So a bit gutted that I moved my risk up or didn't sort of see how it respected that risk. But I'm pretty happy with that trade. And made over 16% on it overall. Some of my sales were at 30% gain, but overall with the average sale it was 16%. So that's my biggest percentage gain with real money, and I'm really, really happy with that. Yeah, so they're my two main, the biggest percentage gainer and the biggest losses of the week. And that first trade where I lost VRPX, I don't feel good about that because I had no plan, nothing. It's really important to track your trades to see where you're going wrong, because I can look back at that and go, I lost a big percentage on that, didn't have a plan, don't do it again. And this one was a good trade, but just to say, if I do take a trade and it goes wrong, it's okay. If I've got a good thesis and I stick to my risk and I cut, then it's a good trade. But this trade here, VRPX, I had no risk, nothing. I didn't have a thesis on it really. It was a very spur of the moment move. I don't feel good about that. So yeah, just a good lesson for me once again. So I did finish the week on a high because I had my biggest percentage gain with real money, but also I had an amazing webinar with Roland Wolf on the Friday, where he went over all his process, his setups, a lot of detail, answered a lot of questions for me, and just learned so much. So to start the week off where I felt like I don't know what I'm doing again, and ending the week thinking I've actually learned something, I am moving, I am progressing, that was super motivating. Every week brings so much growth, and another reason why I like making these videos is because I'm actually going back to them, reviewing what happened in certain trade setups and using that to apply to other similar trade setups that I'm looking at. So I'm finding it really helpful for that. So that's a summary of this week trading penny stocks. As always, thank you for watching and catch you next week.